Kerry from Empower. I'm joined by the lovely Andrea this morning. She's one of our business club members. So hi Andrea, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hi Kerry, thank you for inviting me today. So I work mainly with entrepreneurs, business owners. I work in organizations and with professional individuals, and I enable them to reach their potential. And I do that by sharing with them a very simple but incredibly effective understanding of how our minds work. So they can let go of stress, self-doubt, overwhelm, fear, whatever it is that's holding them back, so that they can really reach their potential and do what it is that they know they want to do.
Wow. I think everybody needs that, don't they?
That's fine. Give me a call.
So how did you get into it? What was your sort of career story, training, background? What did you get up to?
Oh my goodness. Well, 10 years ago, or just a bit more than 10 years ago, I was a successful employment law barrister. I had no intention of becoming a coach of it. I didn't even know coaches existed. You know, I thought that whatever way your head was at that time, that was just how you were baked and you were stuck with it. And I burnt myself out. So I was working really long, crazy hours. My kids were really small. I had 3 kids in 3 years, which was slightly chaotic. And I was just stretched beyond capacity, but really felt that I was on this treadmill that I just couldn't get off. Really stressed, felt under a lot of pressure, but also on the other side, really suffered with imposter syndrome and didn't feel good enough. So then I got into this habit of really pushing myself to kind of prove to myself I could do things, but innocently kind of stretching even more, and ended up with pneumonia when my daughter was about just over a year old, my youngest daughter, and it kind of started to go downhill from there. And I ended up with chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, like the whole shebang. My body just kind of ground to a halt, really. And I then went on this really rather wonderful and weird journey of putting myself together and doing lots of different things. So I tutored at the local university for a while, and that introduced me to the idea of personal development. I'd never come across that before, so that was all new to me. I was introduced to hypnotherapy and NLP, and I kind of went on this journey of really beginning to understand how I worked, but also was getting support from other people to help me with that process. And in around 2014, I was introduced to the understanding that I share now, which is often referred to as 3 principles coaching. I thought it was really simple. I thought I was far too broken and too complex that it could never really help me. But there was just something in it that sticked, and I began to read more books about it and follow different teachers, and then started going to different trainings about it, and it just really, really hooked me. So now I've been trained by some of the world's leading psychologists in this field. I've been to the original 3 Principles School in Canada, which was incredible. And I'm now studying an MSc in psychology, and hoping that my thesis is going to be investigating the efficacy of the 3 principles within the field of female business owners, because that's one of my passions.
Wow, what a journey. I mean, yeah. I guess I've written a few things down while you were chatting there about kind of that burnout, stress, imposter syndrome, all things that, a lot of our members who are obviously women seem to be struggling with or have struggled with. And a lot of people are struggling with it now, in the sense of juggling so much traditional work, with COVID, with homeschooling, with, you know, the sort of additional load that we as women seem to take on. And one thing I thought was quite interesting, you said about imposter syndrome and that sort of idea that you used to try and prove to you that you could do stuff. Was it proving it to you, or was it proving it to other people? I was just interested in that particular.
I think there was a bit of both going on there, if I'm honest. I didn't feel that I could do it, so I'd almost like have this kind of playing chicken with myself, if you like. So I would take on, particularly when I was at the bar, I would take on more complex cases, because I thought that if I did that, I would feel better. Like I would then feel confident.
Yeah.
And you know, it was that idea that, well, if I've done that, then I'll have that experience, and then I'll be there, and I won't have all this doubt about myself, and I'll feel as good as those people because I would have done what they've done.
Yeah, you
And then
believe it then.
it would be like proof to me. And then I'd get there, and I'd feel like that for a little bit, and then it would all start coming back. And that proof, if you like, would just fade into the background, and it then became not good enough. And then I'd need more proof. So then I'd push myself even more. So it was just like this vicious kind of circle, really.
Yeah, yeah. And what's then, so obviously the new training you've done and the 3 principles and the Canada visit, and you've got your successful business now where you're helping male and female, is that right? Or mostly women?
Well, I would say it's mostly women, but I do coach men as well. I have a number of male clients because they like this approach. So I never turn down work. I'll help anybody.
Yeah, and you're obviously forever looking to train and educate yourself and develop your own. You've never stopped learning by the sounds of things.
Well, I think we're all on that journey, aren't we? And I think that, well, what I've seen, the more that I look in this direction, there's just so much more to see. And I mean, that really excites me because I kind of think, well, I don't know what I'm going to see between now and next year that's going to be new. And as I say, I've trained with some really eminent people in this field, and even they say, you know, we've been doing it 40, 50 years and we're still seeing new stuff about how we work as human beings and how we create our experience. And so I think that if we stop looking, we're missing out on so much, because there's just so much more out there.
Yeah, makes sense. So what's been the greatest challenge for you then, moving into this I guess completely different line of work to what you were trained in originally in your career plan? What's been the biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge, I think I'm the same as everyone, you know, growing your business, starting from a standing still, which is what I did. So and quite a number of people that I coach have got ready-made kind of networks already, like they're already in an industry, so they can just move into that as a coach or consultant, and they already have those connections. I didn't. I had I'd been out of law for a long time, so I no longer had those connections. And it really was, well, how do you build it from nothing, like from the ground up? And really kind of getting out there and sharing what I do, which is very different from traditional coaching. So then that, you know, it's almost like educating your audience about what it is that you do and the benefits of working in this way. And so in that respect, it's been well, it's been a nice organic growth. And actually I've really been blessed because it's grown alongside my children. So as they become more independent, my business has become more, you know, I've been able to put more focus into it. So the growth has kind of filled that space, if you like, which has been really, I've been really fortunate on that front. But I would say the challenge is the same for any business owner, is just building your network of people and the audience that you want to serve.
Yeah. So, and how did you go about that? What, you know, was it just a case of networking and getting chatting, and what would be your kind of tips, I guess, that you might give someone else who's feeling a bit like that?
I get out there. Absolutely. I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. I think, especially with social media at the moment, and of course, we've all been locked down. I think there's been a tendency to, well, I'll just post on Facebook, I'll share this blog, and but actually, the power in building your business is face-to-face contact, whether that's on Zoom like this, or whether you actually go out and speak to people. But actually, really speaking to people on a one-to-one, or giving talks, or so people can really see you and get a flavor of what it is that you do. And I find that is the most impactful way, and often the quickest way to grow your business, because your people just connect with you in a completely different way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what about, we're talking a lot at the moment about sort of different, everyone having a different idea of what success looks like, and measuring that differently, and it not all being about, how many figures you business turns over a year. What success look like for you in your business, Andrea?
um Me smiling. For me, my business is, um I love the impact that it has on the people that I work with, and I get a bit addicted with the transformation that happens, and that to me is success. It doesn't matter whether somebody's coming and talking to me for free, or whether they're paying me whatever. For me, it's that transformation. And if someone hears something in what I share, and then they see their life differently, and they see their abilities differently, and they go out and they feel freer to do whatever they want to do, then I feel like I've done a really good job, and that's success. So yeah, it's never really been about turnover, or oh yes, I can get you to 85 gazillion figures in six. It's That's never really been what the focus of my business is. It's about, do you do what you absolutely love? Are you feeling like you're shackled by your own head? You know where you want to be, but you just can't get there. And for me, success is enabling somebody to get there.
Brilliant. Um, so you've mentioned networking, and obviously getting yourself out there sort of leads us nicely into Empower as well, and the community that we've created there. So what do you get out of Empower? What do you like about it?
Well, I joined Empower really in the early stages of my business. So I'll always have a really soft spot for it, because it was that opportunity to meet with like-minded kind of women, without that pressure of, oh my goodness, I've got to get a business in, or I've got to look in a certain way, or I've got to. I mean, I tend not to do that now, because I'm a few years in the game, but certainly in the early days, we all have an idea of what we think other people are going to expect of us, and there was none of that in Empower. It was just a nice bunch of really supportive women who were on a very similar journey to me. So we were all starting our business at the same time, and all just looking to grow. And some of the women have now become really good friends of mine. We've collaborated, we've done projects together, we still support each other, and share what each other are doing. And if we have contacts that can help, then we put them in contact with them. So it started that really rich network. And I think as well, particularly for people who are just kind of starting out, it can be that lovely foundation for you to maybe go and do some of the scarier stuff that you think is scary, because you've got that experience of networking in that really supportive environment.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so, what has it done for your business specifically? Obviously, you've talked about what it gave you in terms of collaborations and friendships, and and growth. But I mean, have you had clients from it too, and how's that worked?
Oh yes, yeah, quite a lot of the members of Empower have worked with me in some way or form over the years. So yeah, it's been really good for my business as well. And also I've had numerous referrals from people, and which has been really helpful. And has led on to other work as well. So I love networking, and I think there is so much power in it, because you just don't know who the person you're talking to knows. You don't know how that person can help you, either not necessarily directly, but indirectly, because they have a whole kind of army of people in their network that might be able to help your business, as well as referring you to get actual business as well. So there's so many layers to networking face to face. And yeah, and Empower was great for that too.
Lovely. And you've, of course, obviously joined us as a guest expert during one of our learning themes too. So we're building out that resources area for people to come and learn and develop and grow, with lots of tips and stuff. So thank you for coming along and offering us your expertise on growth mindset.
Yeah, no, you were welcome. It was a fantastic event, and I hope those who listen to it later get something from it as well.
Thank you. So a kind of last question, I guess, what would you say to anyone who's thinking about joining us in Empower and hasn't yet?
Oh, definitely join. I mean, I just wouldn't think there would be any hesitation there at all. It's just a great environment, a great community. You're just also supportive, and there's some lovely, lovely female entrepreneurs on there who are, yeah, ambitious and connected. They've got great businesses, and can really help you grow your business and support you. And of course, you may pick up a client or two as well along the way, which is always a good thing.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Really enjoyed chatting to you. Be great if you could send us over some links and bits and pieces, and then we can add those to everything that we share on your member spotlight.
Yeah, no, it would be my pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.